What if I told you that everything you guard with such fear of losing is precisely what is preventing your wealth from arriving? This idea runs contrary to every piece of advice we have ever received, which has always been to accumulate, to save, to hold on tightly to what is ours. We are taught that security lies in possession, that our value is measured by the sum of our assets. But this is a profound misunderstanding of the universal laws that govern the flow of abundance. There is a deeper, more powerful truth, a spiritual technology for prosperity that has been hidden in plain sight for millennia. It is a principle so simple, yet so powerful, that its application can radically shift the very fabric of your reality, turning scarcity into abundance and stagnation into a dynamic, creative flow. This ancient secret challenges the very foundation of our relationship with the material world and our own spiritual potential. There is a secret in the book of Ecclesiastes, a universal law that the wise have always known and the accumulators tragically ignore. It is called the law of the void. This is not a law of lack, but a law of creation. It operates on a simple, immutable principle. The universe abhors a vacuum and will rush to fill any space that is intentionally created. We spend our lives filling every available space, our homes, our calendars, our minds, with clutter, believing it is the path to security. Yet we unknowingly block the very channels through which true prosperity could reach us. The wise understand that creation does not happen by adding to what is already full, but by bravely creating emptiness. This emptiness is not a sign of loss. It is a declaration of faith, a sacred invitation for the divine to enter and bestow its boundless gifts upon us. In the next few minutes, I will reveal how the act of letting go becomes the most powerful tool of attraction for abundance that you have ever known. We will journey together into the heart of this ancient wisdom, decodifying the sacred art of casting away, as described by King Solomon, the wealthiest man who ever lived. This is not about minimalist aesthetics or simple organization. It is about engaging in a profound spiritual practice. You are about to learn how to create a quantum vacuum in your physical, mental, and spiritual life, a perfectly prepared space that forces the universe to respond, filling it with the wealth, peace, and purpose you so deeply desire. Prepare to challenge everything you thought you knew about building wealth. Prepare to unlock the divine flow. You look at your home, and you see it full. It is a museum of past intentions and forgotten futures. Closets that refuse to close, packed with clothes for a person you no longer are. Drawers overflowing with old papers, warranties for appliances long gone, documents that represent a life already lived. You walk through rooms filled with furniture and objects, and instead of feeling comfort, you feel a subtle but persistent sense of being crowded. This physical accumulation is a constant, low-level hum of stagnation. It is the visible evidence of a life that has been more about holding on than about living. Imagine the sensation of that weight, not just in your home, but in your very energy field, a silent pressure that resists every attempt you make to move forward into a lighter, more expansive existence. But the accumulation is not merely physical. It is far more insidious than that. Your mind is equally full, a space far more crowded than any room in your house. It is cluttered with worries from the past, replaying conversations and mistakes that cannot be changed. It is choked with fears about the future, anxieties that drain your creative energy and keep you focused on survival rather than thriving. And most heavily, it is filled with beliefs about money that were handed down to you, beliefs from your parents and society that operate like outdated software, silently running in the background. Money is hard to come by. You have to work tirelessly for every penny. These are not your truths, yet they occupy the precious real estate of your consciousness, leaving no room for new thoughts of wealth. You feel this burden in your daily efforts. You work hard, you follow the rules, you save diligently, you fight to get ahead, but the flow of prosperity you yearn for feels like a mere trickle of water when you know in your soul it should be a mighty river. You see others for whom abundance seems to arrive effortlessly, and you wonder what secret they possess. You know that deep weight in your chest when another unexpected bill arrives, that quiet desperation when your bank account balance feels like a judgment on your worth. This constant struggle, this feeling of pushing a boulder uphill only to have it roll back down, is exhausting. It is the heavy friction of a life lived out of alignment with the divine principles of flow and reception. This sense of being stuck creates a profound and quiet ache. It is the feeling of being full of things but empty of meaning. You have followed the script, accumulated the symbols of a successful life, yet there is a hollow space inside that none of it can fill. It's that silent thought that says, I have so much, so why do I feel so poor in spirit? This paradox is the source of immense suffering, a feeling that you are somehow missing the point of it all. The world tells you that your possessions should bring you joy, yet they have become a source of maintenance and worry. This internal emptiness surrounded by external clutter, is the clearest sign that your soul is suffocating under the weight of a misaligned life. This feeling of stagnation, of being imprisoned by the very weight of what you have diligently accumulated, is not a figment of your imagination. It is a critical signal from your soul. It is an alarm bell, warning you that you are inadvertently violating a fundamental spiritual law. The universe is a realm of dynamic energy, of constant flow, of giving and receiving. When you only accumulate, when you refuse to release, you effectively dam the river of divine providence. You create a stagnant pond where a flowing stream should be. The heaviness you feel is the spiritual consequence of this blockage. It is your higher self calling for you to open the floodgates, to release the old, and to once again allow the fresh, vital currents of abundance to flow through you. Do you recognize that silent inventory you constantly take, not just of your physical possessions, but of your grievances and your past pains? You know that mental list of people who have wronged you, of opportunities missed, of dreams you once held that now feel like dead weight. Each of these memories, each of these resentments, is an energetic object you have chosen to store within you. They are heavy, dense, and they occupy the very space where joy, creativity, and new wealth could grow. It is a form of spiritual hoarding. You are clinging to a narrative of lack and disappointment, giving it precious space in your inner world, which inevitably manifests as lack and disappointment in your outer world. The clutter in your heart is the most dangerous of all. And why do you hold on so tightly? It stems from a deeply ingrained fear, a belief in scarcity that has been programmed into us. The world taught you that what you have can be taken away, that there isn't enough to go around, so you must guard your small portion with vigilance. This transforms you into a guardian of your own limitations. The prudence you believe is protecting you is actually suffocating you. This fear-based mindset makes you see the act of letting go as a loss, as a risk. But the great spiritual masters understood the opposite is true. The ultimate risk is to hold on. The ultimate act of faith, and the key to unlocking infinite supply, is the courage to release, to trust, and to create the sacred space for miracles. Finally, someone understands. That feeling is not your fault. It is the natural consequence of living by an incomplete map of reality. You have been taught half of the equation, the importance of gathering and keeping, but you were never taught the sacred and far more powerful half of the equation, the divine art of releasing. That weight on your shoulders, that feeling of being stuck in a life that is too small for your spirit, is the final call to awaken to this forgotten truth. It is the pain that precedes a great liberation. Your soul is not asking for more things to be added. It is begging for things to be taken away, so that it may finally have room to receive what is truly meant for you. The enemy we must face is subtle because it disguises itself as wisdom. It is the scarcity mindset, masquerading as prudence. Society has relentlessly programmed us with its mantras of limitation. Save for a rainy day, it whispers, teaching us to anticipate lack. Don't throw anything away, you might need it someday, it advises, chaining us to a past that suffocates our future. Better safe than sorry, it cautions, encouraging us to build walls of comfort that become our prisons. This philosophy is not entirely wrong. It is simply tragically incomplete. It transforms us into curators of personal museums, filled with dusty relics and artifacts from a life that no longer serves our highest purpose. We become guardians of junk, both physical and mental, believing we are being responsible when, in reality, we are suffocating the very possibility of a vibrant, abundant future from ever taking root. Napoleon Hill, in his timeless wisdom, taught us that the human mind is a powerful magnet, capable of attracting the physical equivalent of its dominant thoughts. This is a fundamental law of the universe. But now I ask you to consider a crucial question. What happens when this magnificent magnet is covered in layers of rust and debris? What happens when its powerful attractive force is insulated by the clutter of doubt, fear, and a lifetime of programming centered on scarcity? It loses its power. It becomes weak and ineffective. The common advice to constantly accumulate, to hold on to everything, is what creates this spiritual rust. Every object you keep out of fear, every limiting belief you refuse to release, is another layer of corrosion, actively repelling the very wealth and opportunities you are trying so hard to attract with your efforts. This reveals the profound difference between the path of effort and the path of alignment. The path of effort, which most of the world follows, is about striving, pushing, and adding more. It is the belief that if you just work harder, save more, and accumulate more, you will eventually achieve prosperity. But this path often leads to burnout and frustration because it ignores the magnetic nature of your being. The path of alignment, the path of the wise, is not about adding, it is about subtracting. It is about diligently removing the rust and debris, the physical clutter, the mental limitations, the emotional baggage, so that your inner magnet can function at its full divine power. The enemy is the lie that accumulation equals security. The truth is that release equals power. But in the face of this common and flawed wisdom, there exists a truth that has weathered millennia. It is a quiet, profound wisdom, hidden away from the noise of the modern world's endless pursuit of more. This truth does not shout. It waits patiently in ancient texts, ready for the disciple who is finally tired of the path of effort and is prepared to learn the path of alignment. This is not a new age trend or a fleeting motivational platitude. It is a sacred technology for living, a divine principle encoded in one of the deepest and most enigmatic books of the Holy Bible. It is a key lost to the ages of accumulation that can unlock the floodgates of heaven and pour out a blessing so great there will not be room enough to receive it. This is the moment your perspective shifts forever. In the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, we find this code. It was written by King Solomon, a man who possessed a level of wealth and wisdom that remains legendary to this day. He was, by all accounts, the richest man who has ever lived. And in his profound reflection upon the nature of existence, he did not advise us to merely accumulate. He gave us a divine blueprint for navigating the seasons of life, a balanced equation for spiritual and material success. With solemn authority, he declares that for everything there is a season, and then he gives us the precise formula. He says there is a time to keep and a time to cast away. Within this simple, elegant phrase lies the entire secret to creating a life of effortless abundance, a secret that has been overlooked by generations obsessed with only one half of the divine law. For centuries, humanity has focused almost exclusively on the first part of Solomon's code, the time to keep. Our entire economic system, our cultural values, our personal identities are built upon the foundation of acquiring, holding, and guarding. We celebrate the keeper, the saver, the accumulator, but the secret of exponential wealth, the master key that unlocks the divine flow, has been hiding in the second, neglected part of the verse. The true power, the quantum leap into a new reality of abundance, is found in mastering the sacred and holy art of casting away. This is the point of Virada, the turning point. It is the realization that your power to attract is not determined by what you can hold, but by what you have the faith to release. We begin our sacred work in the realm you can see and touch. The physical world is not separate from the spiritual. It is its reflection, its proving ground. Solomon's wisdom of casting away must first be applied to your immediate environment, for this is how you demonstrate your faith through action. This is the ritual of preparation. You must understand that when you intentionally clear a physical space, you are not merely organizing or tidying up. You are performing a powerful symbolic act, a form of prayer that requires movement instead of words. The universe, God, the divine mind, whatever you choose to call it, responds not to your wishes but to your conviction, and conviction is best demonstrated through decisive, physical action. This is where your transformation takes its first breath. The process is simple. Choose a room, a closet, a single drawer that feels heavy and stagnant. This space is a microcosm of your life. As you begin to sort through its contents, you are sorting through your own history and your attachment to it. Every object you hold carries an energetic signature of the past. The secret is to engage with this process consciously. Do not rush through it like a chore. Treat it as a sacred ceremony of release. By choosing to let go of an object, you are physically enacting a spiritual decision. You are breaking an energetic tie to a version of yourself that no longer serves your evolution, making room for the person you are becoming and the abundance that awaits them. The great secret that is decoded in this action is your declaration of trust to the universe. When you donate a piece of clothing you haven't worn in years, you are sending a powerful decree into the quantum field. You are saying, I have faith that I will be provided with new and better things. I do not need to hold on to this out of fear of lack. When you discard an old, useless paper, you are declaring, my future is not dependent on my past. I am open to new information, new opportunities. This physical act of release creates a tangible ripple in the spiritual world. It is the evidence God is waiting for, the proof that you are serious about receiving the new blessings that are waiting just outside your current reality. Think of your life as a sacred container, a vessel meant to be filled with divine prosperity. Now, imagine this container is already filled to the very brim with things you have accumulated over the years. Some are useful, but many are old, stagnant, and no longer serve a purpose. You cannot pour fresh, clean water into a cup that is already overflowing with stale, old coffee. It is an impossibility. Your prayers for abundance, your affirmations for wealth, your hard work, all of these are like a divine waterfall trying to pour into your cup, but it cannot enter. It simply spills over the sides because there is no room. The holy act of casting away is the process of pouring out the old coffee, cleansing your vessel. This is how you build the muscle of faith. Faith is not a passive belief. It is an active state of being that is strengthened through practice, just like any muscle in your body. We have been taught to think that faith is about holding on to hope, holding on to belief. But true, powerful faith is demonstrated in the courage to let go. Every time you release a physical object, you are doing a repetition, a spiritual bicep curl. You are training your soul to trust in the unseen, to believe in the universal law of supply. The more you practice letting go of small things, the easier it becomes to release bigger things, like limiting beliefs and old resentments. Your physical space is your training ground. Let us make this intensely practical. Your task is not to overwhelm yourself by trying to declutter your entire house at once. That is the path of effort. We are on the path of alignment. Tonight, choose one small, manageable space. A single drawer in your desk, the glove compartment of your car, a shelf in your pantry. Open it and look at it with new eyes. See it not as a collection of items, but as a collection of energies. Pick up each object one by one and hold it in your hand. Feel its weight. Ask your soul a simple question. Does this object represent the abundant future I am creating, or the limited past I am leaving behind? The answer will come as a feeling, a deep, intuitive knowing. It will feel light and expansive, or it will feel heavy and contracting. Trust this feeling implicitly. If the object feels heavy, if it is tied to a memory of lack, a person who hurt you, or a dream that has died, then it is time to let it go. Do not sell it. Do not store it in the garage. Release it completely. As you place it in a bag for donation or disposal, perform the final step of the ritual. Say aloud, with feeling and conviction, I release what has been. I create this sacred space for what is to come. I am ready to receive. This physical act is the key that unlocks the door to the next, more powerful level of clearing. The mind. Having trained your faith muscle in the physical realm, you are now prepared to tackle the invisible clutter that has far greater power over your reality. The vazio mental, the mental void, is where the true architecture of your prosperity is designed. Your mind, as Napoleon Hill taught, is the magnet. Everything you see in your life today is a direct result of the thoughts and beliefs that you have allowed to occupy your mental space. A mind cluttered with thoughts of scarcity, worry, and limitation can only create a reality of the same. The most important work you will ever do is to become the vigilant guardian of your mind. The book of Ecclesiastes speaks often of vanity, which in its ancient context means emptiness or meaninglessness. The greatest vanity, the most tragic and empty pursuit, is to cling tightly to a belief that consistently produces poverty and struggle in your life. What is the belief about money that is occupying the most valuable space in your mind? Is it money is the root of all evil? Is it you have to work hard for your money? Or perhaps the subtle but deadly belief, I am not worthy of great wealth? These are not harmless phrases. They are the mental trallers, the junk that fills your inner world, leaving no room for beliefs of divine supply, effortless flow, and infinite worthiness to take root and grow. To change your life, you must first change your mind, and you cannot change your mind by simply adding a new thought on top of a pile of old ones. This is why positive affirmations so often fail. They are like planting a beautiful rose in a patch of thorny weeds. The established weeds will choke the life out of the new flower before it even has a chance to bloom. The sacred work prescribed by Solomon's Code is not to plant, but to uproot. It is the act of consciously identifying the weeds, the limiting beliefs, and pulling them out one by one. This is the art of casting away applied to the inner world. It is a declaration of mental sovereignty, claiming your right to choose the thoughts that will shape your destiny. Let us perform this sacred weeding process now. Take a piece of paper and write down the single most persistent and toxic belief you hold about money, the one that you can feel in your gut is holding you back. Be honest. Write it down. Now, look at those words. Recognize them not as a truth, but as an old program, a piece of mental junk you inherited. Now, with full intention, destroy that piece of paper. Tear it into tiny pieces, burn it safely, or bury it. As you physically destroy the representation of that belief, you are performing a powerful ritual to energetically dissolve it from your consciousness. This is a crucial and powerful step in your journey of transformation. As the old belief is destroyed, a vacuum is created. It is essential to fill this space immediately with the new truth you choose to live by. This is the second part of Napoleon Hill's technique. After you have cast away the old, you must keep the new. Verbally declare your new belief with power and emotion. For instance, if you destroyed the belief money is hard to come by, you will now declare, I release the lie that money is scarce. I now install the truth that I am a magnet for divine supply. Money flows to me easily, frequently, and abundantly. Repeat this new truth, write it down, feel it in your body. You are reprogramming your subconscious mind. This process must become a daily practice. Be a detective of your own thoughts. Whenever you catch yourself thinking a thought that feels heavy or limiting, stop, acknowledge it without judgment, and then mentally cast it away. Immediately replace it with your new, empowering belief. Imagine a beautiful garden in your mind. Every time you pull a weed, you plant a flower in its place. Over time, your inner landscape will transform from a field of thorns into a magnificent garden of abundance. This is not wishful thinking. It is the deliberate, methodical cultivation of a consciousness of wealth, a mind that is clear, focused, and aligned with the creative power of the universe. The physical act prepares the outer world. The mental act prepares the inner world. Now we must enter the most sacred space of all, the Holy of Holies, your heart. This is where the vazio is spiritual, the spiritual void, is created. It is the final and most profound application of Solomon's law. For it is in the heart that we store the densest and heaviest energies of all, the burdens of resentment, the poison of unforgiveness, and the sorrow of past hurts. These energies occupy the very frequency of scarcity. They are spiritual anchors that hold you down, preventing your soul from vibrating at the frequency required to attract divine grace and true, lasting prosperity. No amount of physical or mental clearing can compensate for a heart cluttered with unforgiveness. The most misunderstood spiritual directive is to forgive. We often resist it because we believe it condones the actions of those who have harmed us or that it lets them off the hook. This is a profound error. Forgiveness has nothing to do with the other person. It is not about them. It is entirely about you. It is the ultimate act of casting away. Holding a grudge, nurturing a resentment, is like drinking a cup of poison every day and waiting for the other person to perish. The only person being harmed is you. This toxic energy occupies the sacred space in your heart where your connection to God resides. It blocks your channels of reception and keeps you tethered to the very pain you wish to escape. To forgive is the definitive spiritual decluttering. It is the act of declaring, I will no longer allow this past event to occupy precious space within my sacred heart. I choose my own peace over this grievance. When you release someone from the energetic debt you feel they owe you, the true beneficiary is yourself. You are cutting a cord that has been draining your life force, your creative energy, and your magnetic power. This creates an immediate vacuum, a high vibration space of pure potential. It is this empty, cleansed heart space that becomes an irresistible magnet for miracles, for grace, and for the kind of abundance that money cannot buy and the world cannot give. The abundance of peace, love, and divine connection. Think of your heart as a magnificent ship designed to sail on the boundless ocean of God's abundance. Every resentment you hold, every person you have not forgiven, is a heavy stone you have chosen to carry in the cargo hold of your ship. With each stone, your vessel sinks lower into the water. It becomes slow, heavy, and difficult to navigate. Eventually, with enough stones, it can barely move at all, or it sinks to the bottom, trapped in the darkness and the mud. Forgiveness is the act of casting away these stones one by one. You are not doing it for the stone's sake. You are doing it to lighten your own load, to allow your ship to rise, to catch the divine winds, and to sail effortlessly toward the destiny you were created for. This is the ultimate test and the greatest strengthening of the muscle of faith. To release a physical object is one thing. To release a limiting belief is another. But to release a deep and painful grievance requires the highest level of trust in the divine process. It requires you to believe that your future peace is more valuable than your past pain. It is the ultimate declaration to the universe that you are ready to move on, that you are no longer willing to be defined by your wounds. When you make this courageous choice, the universe responds with an influx of grace and power that is simply breathtaking. It is the master key to unlocking a life of flow. Let us perform this sacred act of release right now, in the quiet of this moment. You do not need to confront anyone. This is a transaction between you and God. Close your eyes and allow your awareness to rest in your heart center. Bring to mind a person or a situation that still holds the painful energy of unforgiveness. Allow yourself to feel the heaviness of it for a moment. Acknowledge the pain it caused. Now, picture yourself holding a stone that represents this burden. In the sanctuary of your own soul, make the conscious choice to open your hand. As you do, say these words either silently or aloud. I am ready to be free. I release you from the debt I believed you owed me. I forgive you, and I release myself. Feel the stone dropping away. Feel it sinking into the abyss, leaving your hand, your heart, and your energy field. In its place, feel the space, the lightness, the emptiness. This is the holy vacuum. This is the cleansed space. It may feel unfamiliar, even vulnerable, but it is the fertile ground for miracles. You have just performed the most powerful act of casting away possible. You have cleared the central channel of your being. Now, all that is left is to remain in this state of openness and watch as the divine rushes in to fill the space you have so bravely created with love, with peace, and with an abundance greater than you ever dared to imagine. This threefold process of clearing, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual, is a continuous practice, a new way of life. It is the embodiment of Solomon's wisdom. You start with a draw, you move to a belief, you graduate to a forgiveness. Each act of release strengthens your faith muscle and increases your capacity to receive. You are no longer a dam blocking the flow. You have become an open channel, a clear conduit through which the infinite abundance of the universe can pour. You stop chasing wealth and instead, you become a magnet for it. Prosperity is no longer something you struggle for. It is your natural state of being. The feeling of being stuck, of being suffocated, begins to dissipate. It is replaced by a sense of lightness and possibility. As you create space in your home, you will find you have more space in your schedule. As you create space in your mind, you will find new, brilliant ideas and solutions effortlessly bubbling to the surface. As you create space in your heart, you will find your relationships healing and new, supportive people being drawn into your life. This is not a coincidence. This is the infallible law of the void in action. You have courageously created the cause, and the universe has no choice but to deliver the effect. Remember the metaphor of the garden. You have diligently and lovingly pulled the weeds from the soil of your life. You have removed the physical rocks and debris. You have conditioned the soil by clearing your mind of toxic beliefs. You have watered it with the grace of forgiveness. Now the garden is ready. The conditions are perfect. You do not need to struggle to make the seeds of abundance grow. In this fertile, open, and receptive space, they will grow on their own. Your only job is to continue tending the garden, to keep it clear, and to joyfully receive the harvest that is your divine birthright. This is the sacred art and science of casting away. It is the forgotten key to Solomon's treasure. It is the path of alignment, of grace, of effortless attraction. It is the understanding that true power lies not in what you can acquire, but in what you can release. You have moved from being a frantic accumulator, living in fear of lack, to becoming a conscious creator, living in the faith of infinite supply. You have prepared the vessel. You have cleared the channel. You have created the sacred vacuum. Now stand in holy expectation, for the divine is about to fill it to overflowing. Your new life begins now. And now, stand on the precipice of this new reality and allow yourself to see the future you have just set into motion. Imagine waking up in the coming days and weeks in a home that feels lighter, more spacious, more alive. The air itself seems clearer. As you walk through your rooms, you feel a sense of peace and order that mirrors the newfound order in your soul. The things that surround you are no longer anchors to a stagnant past, but tools and treasures that support your vibrant future. This is not just a clean house. It is a sanctuary, a physical temple that has been cleared and consecrated, ready to receive the blessings that are already on their way to you. This external peace is the very first harvest of your faithful work. Imagine moving through your day with a mind that is clear, focused, and serene. The constant low-level hum of anxiety and worry has been replaced by a quiet confidence. Because you have diligently uprooted the weeds of limiting beliefs, new ideas for prosperity, creativity, and joy can now effortlessly bubble up from the depths of your subconscious. You find solutions to problems that once seemed insurmountable. You think with a clarity that attracts opportunity. Your mind is no longer a prison of past programming, but has become what it was always meant to be, a powerful receiver and transmitter of divine intelligence, perfectly attuned to the frequency of abundance and success in all its forms. Imagine a heart that is no longer heavy with the burdens and grievances of the past. The energy that was once consumed by replaying old hurts and nursing resentments is now liberated, available for love, for joy, for creation. You feel a profound sense of inner peace, a freedom that is unshakable because it is not dependent on anyone else's apology or acknowledgement. This is the fruit of true forgiveness. In this open-hearted state, you become a magnet for positive relationships. People are drawn to your light, your grace, your peaceful energy. Your relationships heal, and new supportive allies appear as if by magic, guided to the sacred, empty space you have prepared within your heart. As this inner transformation solidifies, watch how your outer world rearranges itself to match your new vibration. This is the infallible law. The opportunities, the unexpected phone calls, the business ideas, the checks that appear in the mail, they will begin to flow into your experience, drawn irresistibly to the vacuum you have so courageously created. You will finally understand, on a cellular level, that prosperity is not something you chase and hunt down through exhausting effort. It is something that you allow. It is a divine current that flows naturally and powerfully to wherever there is an open and receptive space for it to enter. You have now become that open space, that clear channel for its expression. Therefore, your call to transformation today is not to frantically organize your entire life by sunset. That is the old paradigm of effort and overwhelm. Your invitation today is much simpler and infinitely more powerful. It is to initiate your liberation. It is to take the first step on this sacred path of alignment with the full understanding that this single step, taken in faith, creates a powerful momentum that the universe cannot ignore. The journey of 1,000 miles begins not with a map of the entire road, but with the courage to lift your foot and take the first step. That is all that is required of you right now to signal to God that you are truly ready for a new season. So, I ask you now to make this commitment. Before this day is done, choose one thing. Just one. Perhaps it is a physical object from that cluttered drawer that represents a past you are ready to release. Perhaps it is a single limiting thought that you catch yourself thinking, which you will consciously cast away and replace. Or perhaps in the bravest act of all, it is one small resentment, one person you will choose to forgive in the quiet sanctuary of your own heart. Choose your one thing and perform the sacred act of release. Hold it in your mind and then declare with all the conviction of your soul to the Creator of the universe, I open my hand, I let this go, I trust you. I have created the void. Now, I give you permission to fill it. This act redefines you. You are no longer an accumulator of scarcity, a guardian of past limitations. You are a creator of sacred space. You are a practitioner of the divine art of release. You are a student of the wisdom of Solomon, a master of the laws that govern the flow of abundance into your life. This power has been dormant within you all along, waiting for you to find the key and have the courage to turn it. Today, you have found that key. Today, you have chosen to turn it. You have chosen faith over fear, alignment over effort, and release over accumulation. You have aligned yourself with the very rhythm of creation, the divine pulse of giving and receiving. Your journey has just begun. Continue to practice this holy trinity of clearing in your home, in your mind, and in your heart. Let this become not a one-time event, but a new way of being, a lifestyle of conscious creation and faithful release. Let the heaviness of your past fall away and step into the glorious lightness of a future filled with divine potential. The space is prepared, the channel is clear, the invitation has been sent. Now, all that is left is for you to receive. Hold this final truth, this mantra, as the new foundation of your prosperous life. Let it be the first thought in the morning and the last thought at night. I empty what limits me to be filled by what is divine.